Thank you. So here's that's the department of Cash Foundation that we call Health Division, that all the students of Cash Foundation were working on this. We're all working together to bring something different to humanity. So I'm going to talk about what we're doing to understand a little bit about this new way of uh, bringing health to people. The way we see the whole picture, the whole all the people who have diseases, we put in different, and this kind of a division. We see the people, all the diseases, working on the physicality, the energy, emotions, and the soul. And at the physical level, all doctors been working on that level. As myself, I've been practicing the medicine for 30 years. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I know the whole humanity is very grateful for the job that you have done. But remember, when you decide to become a doctor, the intention that you have to help people. So now I invite you to see a different level of manage people with problems. It's a new way of change. As I said, just open your mind to different things, to new way of helping people. The first things to understand this technology is we have to learn or to understand how the body works, or how the body is made of. So we have 25 elements, but most importantly, we have 96% of the body is made of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen, and only 4% of the rest of the elements. So if we understand that we are made of these elements, if we handle these elements, we can make any change in the body. So as I said, open your mind to a new way of bringing health to people. Where those elements come from? Those elements come from that light that we see outside in the beautiful day. They call it the sun. We are not going through details to describe that, but it's that we have learned that we cannot live without the sun. And the only thing, or the little thing that we used to understand or know about that we need the sun to help us to synthesize the vitamin D and to protect, to have some kind of protection in our body against diseases. But actually what we have from the sun is these main elements: carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. We receive constantly, every single day, those elements from the sunlight. Life on Earth is made of these elements. Every single life entity, animals, plants, us, we have those elements. But the problem now is that we have so much pollution that also we receive those elements on our body, and it creates imbalance. So as I said, the way we handle or we manage the body is first the physicality, and then understand the energy field that we have around the body. Something that as a doctors we don't address this, or we don't understand what's happening. There's a lot of technology that prove that we have that field energy around us. Call them any way you want: aura, chakras, energy, whatever. This proves that we have that energy field around us. A lot of techniques like photos, they have shown that we have that. And that field changes according to the condition of the body, the emotions of the body, it changes. So if somebody has diseases, the energy field changes. I'm not saying that we have to learn how those energy change of the colors. No, just to prove that we have that energy field around us. And for the reason, science has proven that every single element in the world has energy. Even the rock. They proved the rocks have energy. Flowers, everything. Even us, we have energy. It means every single cell on the body has energy. A gravitational and magnetic field. There's energy. Every organ is a unique energy. The whole body becomes a whole unit and it has energy field around us. So we have seen or understand how the body works. It's a different way that we thought the body was working. So the body takes the energy through the skin and breathing. 80% of that energy comes through that field that we have around us, through the skin and through the breathing. And 20% comes through the food we eat. But even that food that we eat, once it comes inside the body, in the stomach, it turns into energy. It's not that we absorb those elements, the food that we have, that we eat, that will cross the barriers of the stomach. No, we have proven that that is not the way it is. The body changed that food to energy, and that's where we absorb energy. The body has the capacity to change the energy to a physicality state, so we can use it. If you want to understand more details of this, we invite you to become part of the students of CASH Foundation. It's a beautiful way to see this new way of bringing balance to the body. We're using the energy to create energy. Is this technology that we're working on replicates that effect that we see on the sun, bringing those elements, but we can add more elements inside this unit to bring it to the body and make some same changes. We don't use the word diseases. We use the word imbalance. So the body's in balance, and then that's why we bring balance. We don't call this health healing devices. We don't heal anything. As I said, we don't see diseases. We see imbalance in the body, so we create devices to bring balance to the body so the body can change. The body has the capacity to change itself, but we have to give them the right elements to do that. That's why we create different kinds of devices. And a lot of people all over the world is making. I myself, I create those, but it doesn't mean that they're the only ones. This just at the beginning of this new technology, understanding how the plasma works. And we have seen beautiful results in people, call them miracles, but they are not miracles. It's just understanding how the body works and how we can bring something around the body and make those changes. We have beautiful people in CASH Foundation, people that can see energy. I said that there's devices that can prove that has energy around the body, but also there are people that can see energy. And not just people that were born with some gift. They are in a way, but they're able to teach that gift to other people. And people start seeing that energy around objects, around people. And this man who is in the CASH Foundation now is one of the teachers, see this energy. When he sees the energy, the units, he can see the kind of energy is made around them. And also he has seen the energy of the people who come inside the units. How does both energy blends and start changing? So that's also, we learn how much time we have to put people inside those units in order to make those changes. So thanks to these people understand more how this fields of energy changes. And we had to create different ones, just rings with plasma inside with different plasmas, and also create mixing rings with dynamics reactors. We are learning, we're testing different ways of bringing to create this environment, and we're learning to do one thing and another, and we're accelerating that change. The more we understand, we see those changes in the body. As I said, it's not that we have to have this, we have to make this. You can do anything you want. There's different devices that people around the world are creating. So we can test it and make those changes. And the right side, that's another unit. I call it my, the one on the right there, I created myself as, I think this, for me, one of the best way of seeing changes in the people more often in the right way, in the right side. Is another one that I tested, and different people have different kind of diseases or imbalance, and see changes, beautiful changes on those people. We're going to explain a little bit about all this unit, how the body of people use those devices, health devices, and see those changes. And the CAS Foundation, people that have the units, this, and as I said, many people around the world are making so simple. It's not sophisticated to do all this. When you understand the plasma, how the plasma works, you can make your own health unit, create your own environment. You don't have to say, oh, it's complicated. No, you will surprise how people are doing those units. People of the third age, it's incredible when they see, when they find out that they can create anything with their hands and make some changes and see the effect on that. Is beautiful. So as I said, everyone can make any of those devices. What we understand is, once you understand more about how the plasma works as a fields, energy fields interacts with the strong fields, with the weakest fields, so make changes. Also, how we make those changes, how we bring that balance to the body, is create that balance, create the environment so the body absorb those elements and start responding to those elements. It's like a giving food or giving gasoline to the car or oil to the car. So we give in the proper elements and the units start working properly. So the same as the body. So we create fields that interact with the body and makes those changes. So the same way the body receive energy, the body extract, they eliminate energy out of the body. The same way, if it's not only through the urine or through the tools that the body eliminates something that doesn't need, but also through that field of energy extract. And this, as I said before, this person that can see the energy, I have to explain how the energy, because they see it, how the energy comes out of the body and goes through the earth, to earth, absorb it, or sometimes we use different elements like sea salt to absorb as a gravitational field, abstract the energy out of the body. So we have seen different ways of how the body works, and we're working on that to see those effects. So the other facet of the way we see the diseases or the imbalance in the body, as I said, is the physicality, physicality, energy, emotions, and soul. So how the medical field see that emotions, or this, they call them stress, or even people, doctor says 99% of the diseases are psychosomatic. We don't, as a doctors, we never understood properly why we call it psychosomatic, and everything that we tag them is that psychosomatic problem as a stress. So stress, hyperactivity of the brain, so we handle it differently. So the way we see it now is we call them emotions. So our different emotions, different emotions target different organs, and that's organs. Your body is, you have to understand now how the body works. It's not, we're not physical bodies. And it's hard for medical field to understand that we are souls having experience in the body. So as a soul, we come to the body to have experience. And so we have working on this body, living on this earth, we have emotions. Through emotions, we change the physicality. So this is a way. So different emotions affects different organs. And that's what we have seen. I've seen people who worked on the emotions, and I've seen many changes that normally traditional medicine cannot achieve. I've seen with my own eyes, people here in the place that I live, people that work on emotion. I've seen people who have diseases or problems, and they can change this in less time than the way we used to do it. So I invite you to understand a little bit more about the diseases, as I said, imbalance in the body, why we create that imbalance. So as I said, 95 or 98% of those imbalances the source of that is because some kind of emotions are involved in it. And as I said, if you wanted to understand a little bit more deeply about how the emotions affect the body, I invite you to join us as students at the CAS Foundation to understand a little bit more. There's so many studies, there's archives that you can see all the studies that we have done to understand how the body creates imbalance through emotions. So, and basically in order to handle this balance, as this imbalance in emotions, is we using devices, breathing devices. This is just one example. There's many breathing devices people have developed better and beautiful than this, but it's different ways to see it. So if we given the elements in the body to handle the emotion, basically is the CO2 and zinc. That's the main elements that works on the emotions. So if we use them properly, we can handle this emotion. You will see that effect on the body, and the person says, yes, now I have emotion, I have problems, but I don't feel they affect me. And we can start seeing those effects in the body. If little by little you understand how every single emotions affect certain part of the body, once you are become familiar with those emotions, you can help people to address those emotions, to address those problems, and you will see the effect on the body instantly. So as I said, as I said, there's a different elements that we use, plasma elements, that will help with the different concentration, 20, 80, 50, 50. So different. Once you understand how the body, how the emotions affect, what kind of emotions are affecting, you will handle different concentrations of these elements to give the people those elements in order to handle those emotions. And you will see the effects instantly. When people come and use this technology, says, I'm not going to convince you of anything, just test it. As I said to you, test it. Don't close your mind to new ways of bringing balance to the body. Test it. When people come, I said, so do I have to believe? No, I ask you not to believe anything I said. Just come and test it. And you feel the effect on your body. And it's incredible. We used to call them miracles, but they actually is understanding how the body works. So given the elements, the proper elements, and you start having those effects instantly. So in the way we understand now how those health unit works is understanding what we are as souls that have an experience in the body, physical body. So the energy, those health health units are an extension of your soul, and we explain how that works. You are in the plasma state. As I say, you have energy. Every single part of your body has their own energy. You are in a plasma state. You are energy field. So your energy interacts with the energy that you are creating. Your field changes according to your emotions, as I said before, and I show you some photos of those energy, the colors of the energy. So changes according to that. Your energy field interacts with energy of the GANs. Once you create GANs, you put them inside these units, and if you are creative, you have intention, you have strong field. That strong field affects the weakest field. If you have a strong field, you have a strong desire to create something beautiful for humanity, it has a strong effect. And that's what we have seen when you create those health units. So once you as a field, as a person who creates as energy, and you create another energy source of energy like there's units, you blend each other. You blend and creates one field, interacting with the person. When you create that, you put your energy inside and you interact with the field of this person. And as I said, once you understand how the plasma works, it's stronger, changes the weaker. So that's what we see. That's why we see effects on the body. When somebody has an imbalance in the body, that's because it's weak, it's not strong. That's why they created some kind of imbalance of those diseases. So we give it a strong field, and we can change those. It's like the way I see this is the healer has intention, has love. That's what we are seeing. What, as I said before, those person who can see the energy, when the people has a strong will to make changes, to have intention, to have love, that field changes, and they can see that energy is so strong, and how the energy, when they are close to another body, changes. I remember when the first day that I went to the medical school, and the doctor said, the professor said, you will see those people who come to you as a patients with pain, and as soon as it got in front of you, they don't have pain because they believe in you in a way. But now, understand different. What happened is, we as a healers, we have a strong will to help people. So we create that field around us. That's very strong field. And those people who have diseases, those people who have imbalance in the body, that's a weaker field. They are suffering in a way. So when they come close to you, interact that energy of that person with the energy of yourself that have that intentions to change it. And that's why they change it. Yes, in a way it is, they believe. So when they have that beliefs, they attract that energy. They decide to have those changes, and they wanted to interact with you. And that's when they see those changes more rapidly. So that's the way, it's a different way to see the whole world. It's not just, as I said, physicality. It's a different world of energy that we can make any changes instantly. In the soul level balance, one day I asked Mr. Kesh, now they understand. Mr. Kesh has taught us a lot about the soul, and I myself, I've been working on that soul level and all my life, understanding what we are as a soul entities. So I asked Mr. Kesh one day, it says, to obtain the change or eliminate the disease rather than being in the plasma field, there must be a contact and desire of the soul of the healer and the soul of the one who suffered from the disease and want to change. If so, could you guide me on how to achieve that contact or communications with the patient's soul? And it's beautiful to talk to Mr. Gates the way he explained. It's a little difficult to understand, but once you meditate and read over and over and over again his words, you're understanding, and that's when we start seeing those miracles. Beautiful. So he responds, in English, there's one word of it, trust. Trust of the healer that I can accept without harming myself. Trust of the patient that with that I give, I do not harm the healer. You should understand one point in the realm of creation. One never harms. So it is not as I can heal. It's so much the patient's soul trusts that I cannot harm my healer, and healer accepting my feels, that by him getting rid of the illness, the energy does not harm me as a healer. This is the secret of the universal healing. Then this needs a new wisdom of thoughts. Earthly doctors just pass the problem to another point. Universal healers stay for good, for lifetime, as they have and build a trust in themselves that they can hold or dispose of fields in a safe manner to universal fields. Then you understand a new dimension. This is the capacity to be the everlasting in the soul of Creator. This is the way of thought and experience, but we always think that there is something more complicated. I respond to Mr. Cash. But just no. The simplicity of this is the beauty of it. But understanding the process of it is a real realm of soul, and being large enough to accept it from all is the key to it. In present life, we take a tumor and dispose of it, and that is done. At the soul level, you have to understand what to give. It's a gift to the soul that it gives you the life of the tumor, to hold and not to destroy what he has made. There is a transfer of soul of the tumor and not the physicality of the tumor. Needs a deep understanding. A wise doctor of universe does a good job when only builds a full spectrum of strength of the soul of himself. Then when the next patient comes, now the soul, he has the bank of souls that he can ask to be given to the next patient. From this bank that shows the patient that I can handle your soul problem as I have seen in my possession and cannot harm myself. I thought this in the realm of the captain of the spaceship. But there's no difference between the captain of the ship or a doctor. Trust is not harming themselves. It's accepting new souls. And that is so. It's a lot to complicate. It's beautiful teaching that I have with Mr. Case. And it took me a while to understand. But once you understand and apply this knowledge, as I said, you see those miracles you used to have. So miracles, then you can have them. Everyone can have it. You don't have to be special. Actually, all of you are special. Nobody is better than anybody. Nobody is less than anybody. We are all equals. But once we understand this process, we can make those changes. And once you understand that, help people to understand. That's the only way we're going to make change in the world. When I talk to people or teach people about this technology, I only ask you one condition when they come to these lectures. Whatever you learn, spread that information to other people, your family, your friends, your neighbors. That's the only way we can have a unique world full of love, full of understanding, that we are equals. It doesn't matter what color, what shape, what form of body we have. We're all the same. So now we have the protocol, plasma protocol create that balance. So we develop breathing devices, as I showed before, the health unit to create balance, to create an environment in order to give the people those elements that they need. And also we have to target the organ with the specific cancer patches. So we create an environment, but sometimes you need a specific elements in certain organs. So we create patches with that elements that we create GANs or plasma of those elements the body needs in order to create another extra field around that organ. And we have seen those changes, taking advantage of that energy field that we have around us. So also we drink the plasma water, not the GANs, but the plasma water, CO2, zinc, and CH3 to make changes in the body to help us. So in another, one of the advices that we have is not to give CH3 in any of persons who have diseases. So now I'm going to show you some of the cases that we, as students, plasma workers, that we have had, and personal us, some of those patients, the persons or person who have this imbalance, I haven't. So this is the result that we have had. First, we have a person with breast cancer. This person is a 30 years old female. Province is a left breast lower inner quadrant with a tumor. With the core biopsy results invasive ductal carcinoma nuclear grade 3. So this is some of the photos of the patient who came for the first time with the biopsy. After the biopsy started, 1 week after the biopsy, the breast started to growing. So it seems that he had an infection. The person was put on an antibiotic for 3 weeks, but she didn't respond. So the person refused to do surgery and chemotherapy and chose alternative methods of treatment. So as I said, we don't treat anything. We don't just give them the elements that the body needs, just bring balance and see what happened. So in this case, this person, when he came with no energy, high fever, pain on her left breast, and sleepless nights. So as I said, you can test it, you can come, see, she used this device. So she came into the device, she spent an hour, and after the hour, she's starting to see effects. For the first time, the pain disappeared in that moment, started to feel better, and she was able to sleep that night. So she decided to continue with this technology. So for the protocol that we follow with every person who have cancer, so we have to analyze the emotion problems. So we have to understand that when people have a breast tumor, so breast issues, we see that the left side are emotions involved with the mother or child issues. The right side is involved with the partner of the lover issues. The step 2 to understand how the tumors is, we have seen that the cancer inside the cancer is some kind of metals involved. We've seen the person who cancer says that runs out of the energy. Why? Because something has to be inside the tumor that extract, that absorb, that takes all the energy of the body. So that's what we see in the people. People run out of energy. That's why they die. So we have to find out what kind of metals are involved in person who have cancer. So we make a blood test or hair test, and we try to find what metal is higher in the person. And we pick that metal that is higher, so that means that that is the one who's causing the problems. We create GANs, we create plasma of that, and we create fields using those metals energy in order to extract the energy out of that seed of that tumor. And that tumor starts shrinking, disappearing. And to create, we put them on those health unit and also create those patches with as we understand, the strong plasma feeds this weaker, so it creates a loop in between those elements. So if the person has a cancer, it has a certain energy. So we create a stronger energy from one side and a weaker energy on the other side. So it creates a loop in between those patches or those fields and extract the energy of the tumor, and the tumor start shrinking, as I say, start disappearing. At the beginning, as a doctor, I started to see this. Yes, I had so many doubts, but just have, as I said, just trust, see what's happening in a person. And we have seen those changes, as I'm going to show you some photos to the evolution of this person who had these tumors. So sometimes if the breast is too small, even though they have the tumor, you place the stronger field on the back, and the weakest on the front of the person, or the chest, or in front of the area that is affected. So this is the evolution. As I said, this person had infection, so it was making a lot of destruction inside the breast. And when I saw it, as I said, when I saw this case, I thought, oh, it's getting worse and worse. But it was looking, I mean, the way I see it is getting worse, but the person started feeling better and better. So the opposite. So I continue with this field to bring this field around the body. And what I started seeing that some pieces of that tumor starting to coming off the person was just like rejecting the tumors out of the body. So they started to change, and suddenly the breast starting to die, that tissue starting to die. And as I experienced, I started to this unit for 2 months, started the last unit, and then I built a different unit. So I started putting this person inside for another month, and that's what we see this result. The shrink, totally shrink. So that tumor that was so huge, so incredible, so big, and they shrink it for that little one. So, and then we decide to have a biopsy to see to prove that this really technology works. So, and the breast biopsy, the reports came that there was a fibroconnective tissue with extensive coagulative necrosis. In common section of the mass needle core biopsy shows granulation tissue associated with extensive coagulative and calcification, which is highly suspicious for tumor necrosis. The adjacent viable tissue shows granulation tissue, stroma fibrosis in collection of histiocytes, and mix of chronic inflammatory cells. No evidence of viable tumor on the current biopsy. I was surprised and was so happy to see those results. So this is another case study. It's a person, male, 59-year-old, with a problem. He started 9 years ago with tremors, right hand, and now to almost all the body. He stopped driving 7 years ago. He started using diapers 4 years ago because he cannot control the sphincters. So that was diagnosed with Parkinson. It's a terrible disease we're seeing in people. So we have to understand the emotions, everything that this person, I'm not going to go in details about this emotion problems, but I decided to put this person in this unit. We create this unit, he had it in the home, and he uses the unit for an hour a day. Drink plasma water, CO3 20 milliliters, CO2 20 milliliters, and zinc 12 milliliters, 3 times a day. He had a breathing device, 50% of CO2 and 50% of zinc. 2 months later, he started to drive and no longer uses diapers. Most of the tremors disappeared, but 80% is that he estimate that. Is this personal estimate? He says, I think 80% of the tremors disappeared in 2 months. The most important, as I see this, he has his life back. They will see that result instantly. He started to feel better and see the effects of that. Just standing inside, without taking any medicine, just drinking plasma because there's elements that the body needs. Just give them the elements the body needs to respond, breathing those elements, and create environment. So we use different all the sources that the person takes the energy through the stomach, through the breathing, and through the skin. And you can start seeing those changes. Now, the case of a person, male, 72 years old, the problem is 2 years ago, he started to have heart failure and pulmonary edema. The medical history, in 2015, the right hip was replaced. In 2017, second time, the hip was replaced. And he started to have those problems. And diagnosed was amyloidosis. As we understand, in the medical field, amyloidosis is an abnormal protein that is usually produced in your bone marrow and can be deposited in any tissue or organ. And if it builds up in the organ, you might develop a disease called amyloidosis, causing organ dysfunction. In order to make a diagnosis of this, you ask for electrophoresis or biopsy of tissue, electrophoresis in the blood and tissue, and you find those proteins are higher. But the way we understand, we see the body. So what happened is, once you understand how the body works, how the body creates everything to defend themselves, to immune system, is totally different the way we are going to handle those diseases. So we have to understand that the bones, especially the femur, is incredible fabric of immune system, immune defense. So what happened is, once the lymph comes inside the bone and the amino acids, it's a fabric inside the bones. The bone marrow creates those proteins, and it's once it created on the top of the trochanter or the head of the epiphysis or that part of the bones, that created those proteins, releases to the organ, to the body, and defends themselves. But what happened when those people that they cut that part of the femur, we cut the production of that elements of those proteins, so the body cannot defend himself against any diseases. And what happened, instead of creating a different protein, what happened is it's an immature protein that affects those organs, because we remove that part of the fabric that was in the body. So it's a different way to understand how the body, how the bone marrow, how all the bones works, and how those affects the rest of the organs. So the way we handle this is to understand, first, understanding the emotional problems. So these people, so we have to talk to them once you understand, and it's easy when they understand the problem and they face them, they accept them, they started to see those changes in the body. So hip problems indicate a life with anger and great frustration, a suppressed childhood with fear of making decisions, feeling ashamed, and fighting to be respected in a controlling, suppressed, and dominating environment. So when they have that issues, they develop those problems on the hips. So we create that breathing device with those elements in order to bring balance to an emotional level. But also, we have to target the organ that is involved, as I said before. In this case, a particular case, it was it didn't have the health unit. So as we understand what happened in the bone, so we had to create that part of the organ that is being extracted, being removed, that part of the fabric that's removed. So we have to help the rest of the bone to create that protein, to mature that protein and help the people. So we create those kinds of patches with those GANs, create that environments, and this is the way we we create the patches, one side and the other of the femur, and that's the way they wear them. They have, because the problem is permanent, they remove that part of the organ, as I said, the part of the femur. They have to use those patches the whole life, but we have to change it periodically, because those changes, that's when we use plasma, there's a time that it creates a balance between the patches and the body, so no longer affects, no longer has the same effect. So we have to change this because in these cases we put GANs, we can change it every 3 or 4 months, and we see the effects immediately. So also, this person who had the problem in the heart, we create the scans, understanding the elements that are involved in the heart. So we create those elements, we put those in the patches, we put on the front and back of the heart, and they wear it like this, and that's it. We don't have to give in medicine. And because also we're trying to affect the fat acids in the body, so just give them butter, 50 milligrams a daily at night to have the balance in the body. So the way, as I said before, we create environment. An environment is the body can abstract those elements from that environment and make those changes. We don't heal anything. We don't treat anything. Just give them the elements. We create an environment so the body look for that balance and see those changes. And most of the people with these problems might have kidney problems. So we have to control with an MRI the functionality of how the kidney is working. As soon as he starts having problems, we create those patches and put them also in the level and start responding. So this person, I've been in contact with the family of this after 4 weeks of working on this balance. What happened is diminishes of shortness of breathing. Generally, there's an improvement in taking less medications. The opposite, as we see in the traditional medicine, they have to give a lot of medication the whole life. So in these cases, because he's using those elements, we give them those elements that the body needs. He needs less and less medications because he's helping those elements. The body's responding because we understand we're helping the femur to create that protein, become that protein better, natural. So it's not working. And that blood that we use that, and to understand a little bit, there's some different ways to treat this, not to treat, to get rid of those proteins. Those proteins that went through that organ that is affecting, as I said, is energy. So if that energy is in that organ, call them heart, call them lungs, call them liver, whatever, or kidneys, that's energy of those proteins. So we create the different energy fields to extract that energy and no longer affect the body. So it's no longer affecting the body's responding, and then we give in the protein the body needs in order to respond to anything and started to feel better. So easy, just bring balance to the body. So we have another case study, which is Alzheimer's. We have had beautiful experiences with people with Alzheimer's. This person is a female, 85 years old, diagnosed 10 years with Alzheimer's. In the last 9 months, is in a vegetative state. It doesn't talk, doesn't walk, it doesn't blink. It's feeding through the nasogastric tube. And she's 100% assisted by nurses. This person is just lying down in the bed without blinking, no movements, nothing, just being there for the last 9 months. So, and as I said, didn't have any response to the traditional medication, just being alive, but with no response, no interaction with the environment, nothing. So this person, the family called, they see if we can see something. And when we start doing this technology, we didn't know how to do it a lot, but understanding balance, not treatment, not to see or have to treat. When we understand what's going on, we understand the emotional problems involved in Alzheimer's is emotions, and those emotions, people most of the people that have Alzheimer's, people that move from one place to another, one city to another, one country to another, one house to another, and they don't like that place. They miss the other place, the other city, the other environment, or because they're the whole life they were in that environment, that they missed it and they blocked it subconsciously. They block themselves. They don't want to leave that place they're living now. And the brain is starting to die. You see, if you see have the MRI, the black spots, they're growing inside the brain because the brain tissue is dying. And see, we're understanding brain tissue elements, so we create those elements that the body needs and responding. So I started as I said, the person that one of the nurses that was taking care of this person says, hey, can you do something? Okay, let's try to this. I've seen this person, but I gave him the patch to sing. Just sing. So he drank the water, and 1 hour later, after she drank that water, she started talking. 9 months without talking anything. After that, she, for us, opened a new door to bring more to this person in condition. So I create a helmet, the helmet with zinc and CO2, and wear, because it was impossible to put him in the health unit because he was lying for months and wasn't able to drive, to walk, anything. So we bring those stuff to their home and start using those devices. We create pens with different kinds of gas, CO2 and CH3 and lead. So lead is a gravitational, it takes energy. CH3 gives energy. When the energy comes to one hand, it runs to the whole body. It creates something like when it's Alzheimer's, those people with Parkinson, they have like they call it like a short circuit. So we want to balance that energy going through the body. So when they hold those pens, they feel the energy in the body and they love it. This person, they will start using those pens and they don't want to get rid of them. They wanted to hold it all the time because in a way, in his state of not being aware of the environment, but when she started holding the pen, she started feeling the effect on the body. She started to like to use it. And also we use different elements like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, and folic acid. We give in a different dosage, a high dosage to bring balance and different levels of the body. But I have tested, so you can give in, you can take in these pills, as I said, inside the body, which changes to the as energy field. But also we given to drink those water, CO2, zinc in the morning, or lunch and dinner. And 3 months later, person start walking, start feeding themselves, and I put that spelling word. She liked to spelling words because she didn't have that skill before. Since the family says she didn't have whatever letter or word you gave her, she spelled instantly, incredible speed. As I said, she's responding, and the family that starts seeing her walking, watching TV, and feeding themselves is a crude improvement. So we still working on her and improving little by little. And there's another person with Alzheimer's, 72 years old, 5 years in a state of coma, in this state, but the husband loved her so much that he said, I'm not going to give up. I love her so much that I wanted to do anything I want. So he heard about this technology, he called us, and we sent in a unit, and he started using the unit he fed through the gastrostomy. So he's starting to use this unit and using those elements instead of give her those elements like magnesium, calcium, potassium, folic acid, and instead of giving her, we create plasma of that, and I put them inside those bowls, dynamic reactors, and create an environment, create a plasma environment. So we put the person inside, and it's starting to have that effect. When she started to put her inside the unit was difficult because she's been lying down for many years, even though they have a person, a physiotherapist who comes every other day to exercise, to do some exercise, a person not to get stiff. So they have a little difficulty to put them on a wheelchair and put them inside the unit. At the beginning, they only were able to put her for 20 minutes a day. I asked them if they can put her an hour 3 times a day. After 2 weeks, they started to put her 1 hour 3 times a day. And also we given to, because she was can swallow. So we put with a syringe a little bit of zinc plasma water in the mouth, and it turned to energy to plasma, and it started to fade, and it sprayed the zinc plasma water on her scalp every night. 4 weeks, he started to move. In 6 weeks, she opened her eyes. I remember the day when this her husband called me. He was crying, and I was surprised. What happened is she opened her eyes for the first time after 5 years, and now she's responding. She started to move. She helped them to move her and be inside the unit. So she responded. We started 6 weeks ago. I just made this. 7 weeks ago, I started to help these people to create this balance in this to this person. So that's what you change it. So another case is fibromyalgia. This is very common. As a doctor before, I never saw this so many diseases that I'm not used to. The fibromyalgia is a disease. Also, a disease or problem is a lot of imbalance in the body, emotional problem or emotional imbalance. But we create imbalance, and the body creates a lot of pain. They block themselves, not be able to do anything. So the best way we built this unit. I sent it to home, and she started to drink plasma water, CS3, CO2, and zinc outside. So she started to drink. And the best way, I think, to describe the evolution of this patient is to write down the same testimony. She sent me this testimony. She emailed me all the changes. So I'm going to read a little bit. That was going to be the last, I don't know, have another one. So this person says, symptoms I had mid 2016 and how they have disappeared or improved markedly November 29, 2017. I did not walk at all. They moved me with a wheelchair. I already walk with someone. I move quite well. I did not move in bed. Now I move. I could not stand up from the chair alone. Now I do it 10 times in a row. I got up to urinate up to 9 times during the night. Now I sleep almost always. Urinated in a trickle. Now normal urinate. Sorry. I was scared to go out with a car because of the fear of urinating. It disappeared. I ate almost nothing. Now I ate great variety of food. I did not digest food well. Did not erupt or gas patches. Now my digestion is normal. I had difficulties to evacuate. Now I evacuate almost every day. I could not fall asleep. Now I fall asleep easily every night. When I finally slept, I slept 11 hours. Now I have 7 to 8 hours. I was depressed and panicked at bad time. Now I lie down peacefully and I fall asleep. I woke up down for hours. Now I sleep for 5 hours almost every day. I did not get up from the bed alone. Now I get up alone and I dress alone and I move with a chair, and many times I already traveled a certain distance alone. For months I did not want to leave the house. I got out quite often. I had neither the desire nor the energy to talk to people. It disappeared. I did not have equilibrium. Now I keep myself only for a while now. I did not do any kind of exercise. Now I do have, and I have an hour 3 times a week. They had to bath me. They had to bath me. Now I bath alone. I have pains all over my body of all kinds. They're just decreasing. Traveling in the lake, drawing, disappear. Intense calling constantly, disappear. Changes in skin temperature, they're decreasing. Large bruise pimples disappeared. Areas of the whole forehead that peel the skin, now it's healthy. Areas of itching of the body disappeared. Tearful eyes, they are diminishing. Pain in the arms also diminishing. Very intense back pain decreasing. Tight feeling under the breast decreasing. Sensation of nausea improving. Tremors of the left arm improving. lack of coordination on the left side of my body, improving. No desire to work, improving. And this is the different effects of um, electromagnetic frequency. They have a different, every one of the electrical devices, computers, watchers, TV, everything they have was affected. Now all that is diminished. She feels a lot different. If it can be anywhere, in front of any devices, no longer a factors of, but it felt started to feel better. So I think it's the best way to understand how the people worked of feeling with this energy, just having the energy, given the elements the body needs, just that, and starting to feel effects. For many years suffering this disease, not having any improvement. After that, she's happy using this. So I have another person with lymphoma. This is the last case. It's a female, 7 years old, multiple enhancing lesions of thoracic spine with a largest center of T8 and T10 and 11, extending into the spinal canal with severe spinal cord compression. With later surgical procedure, posterior thoracic T8, T11, laminectomy with removal of intraspinal lesion. Final diagnosed, epidural thoracic lymphoma invading bone and marrow space. 3 weeks later, they scanned it and they found out that disease was spread or having metastases in different part of the body. And she went through almost 5 months. It was on chemotherapy, and she came to me with a node in the right hip, a lot of pain. It was using a walker, using a treadmill because she can't walk. She had a numbness on the lower legs because of compression of all the tumors, all the problems in the body. It was feeling it was no desire to walk, a lot of pain, no energy, and it was asking for help. So, and when she had the chemo, she had severe side effects, vomiting, pain, headaches, hair loss, the same effect that we used to see in those people. So she came and we made a blood test, and we found out that the calcium was higher. So we create patches with this calcium plasma, and we place this in every part. She has metastasis of that tumor, and she spent 1 hour 2 times a day for 6 weeks inside the machine. And after when she was in the fifth week of using this machine, that's when I had a talk to Mr. Cass, the conversation about working on the soul level of the person. So he taught me this, Mr. Cass, wonderfully. It's beautiful the way he explained it. As I said, he taught me how to handle, make me understand how to work on the soul level. And it was incredible because at that time, 5 weeks, she still had that nose. She still has a little pain, and it was scared because she was scheduled in 10 days to do another scan. And so I started to work on the soul level. And it was a beautiful experience that day. I never forgot that experience that I had with this person. Spitting not of that person on myself. I have incredible changes in my body, understanding how the energy of that person has to come out and handle that energy. This is beautiful. It's hard to believe, but I'm a scientist, I'm a doctor, and it's incredible what happens. So I said, okay, I think it's done. Let's see what happened. 3 days later, she went to make the scan. And again, another person will call me, and that was resolved. Complete metabolic response with the resolution of the the sites of the metabolic active lymphoma. There's no trace of cancer anywhere. And the few days later, she had that node, still had nodes. It had metastasis in the jaw and the saliva glands. And it was incredible, beautiful effect when I worked on that, and I am learning. I'm still working with different people. I'm having incredible result working at that level. As I said, there's a different way of handle those problems, those diseases that we call them, or we call imbalance in the body. So you understand that level. As I said before, there's a different levels: physicality, energy, emotions, and the soul. So that's it. Thank you so much.